Spencer Gallup. How are we doing
What's
today,
up?
sir?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. This has been a eventful morning. We're here recording at 5 a.m. Obviously, since it's bright behind
Facts.
you, you can tell it's 5 a.m. right now when we're recording. Um, but we have a lot to talk about here on episode 32 of the Scoop and Score Football Show, brought to you by Ball N Beatz Media. We have our updated post-spring B&B poll rankings coming at the end of the show today. We're also getting back into our conference previews here for the 2026 college football season. But before we get into the content today, make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the push notification bell to stay up to date on all of our new videos. Go watch the shorts that we have on our YouTube channel. We've been getting a lot more subscribers from that. We've gained over 60 subscribers in the last 2-3 months here. So we appreciate all the
Hell
love
yeah.
that we have coming our way. Make sure you follow us on our Instagram and our TikTok pages as well at Ball N Beatz Media. And please DM Spencer about that absolute collapse of Game 7 with his Detroit Pistons. Okay? Let him have it. Let him have it, please.
Oh man, I know this is a football show, but that really sucked, man. And I was a sicko. I watched that whole thing. I watched it and it was just because it's better than watching the Tigers right now.
Yeah, that's very
And
true.
Cleveland is just they are just taking it to Detroit.
In every sport.
No protection, no nothing. Just full blow go. Just over and over and over again.
Yes.
And the only team that isn't is the Browns. The Browns don't beat the Lions.
That's
But
true. We
the
haven't beat the Lions, I
Guardians
feel like, in
own
forever.
the Guardians own the Tigers, and the Cavs own the Pistons. I just like how you gonna come back from what was it, a 30 or 31 point loss in a game 7 at home.
Yep.
And the fact that the game was over in the second quarter. It was over.
Dunzo. Donovan Mitchell and
I
Jared
could go on a
Allen
massive rant, but
broke your heart.
this is a football show. So yeah. No, it was Jared Allen. It was definitely Jared Allen more than anything. And Sam Merrill. The Utah State legend Sam Merrill is gonna be in my nightmares.
The lights may have been brighter than expected.
He is my Caleb Martin. He except playing against Caleb Martin, game 7, Caleb Martin. It made no sense at all. Dude was hitting everything.
Yes, every single shot.
Pop a shot
possible.
threes. Pop shot threes. It was crazy.
The lights may have been brighter than expected for the Detroit Pistons, but it's never too dim on some of these schools in the American Conference. And while we're at it, that's the conference we are previewing here today, is the American Conference, as some would put it. The conference that always seems to produce a playoff team every once in a while. The elites of Tulane, the Bayou Green Wave. You've got the Naval Academy. You've got West Point. You've got some serious dogs in the greatest conference, as some would say, the American Conference, if you will. The great
Conference.
The great big American Conference. We are diving into it here today. And with 14 teams in the conference here, we're just going to I'm pretty certain you and I are going to have the same 2 teams in last place. I'm pretty confident in that. We haven't talked off air about it. I'm pretty confident that we're going to have the same 2 teams in last place. So let's start here with
Memphis
14.
at number 13. Number 14 is the Charlotte 49ers. They are a garbage can. They are the armpit of the American. Tim Albin is a joke of a head coach for leaving Ohio for Charlotte, which I would argue is not even a lateral move. I'd argue it's a downgrade of a move. And they have no hope. Like, they lost Javen Nichols to Duke. I don't know. I think their best transfer they got was a tackle.
Probably.
Yeah, they got no help. They got no hope. Simple as that. Charlotte's going to be terrible. They might go 1-11 again. Maybe they'll beat the Citadel. Maybe they will beat the the Clemson's rival, the Citadel.
The
So
real
we'll see.
Clemson's rival, not South Carolina. It is the Citadel.
Yeah.
Um, as someone who tried to rebuild the Charlotte 49ers on College Football 26, in my rebuild, in my dynasty, this was the team I said that I'm going to take to the promised land. And you know what we did? We also went 1-11. The same record they had last year. So, with that being said, at number 14, here's my notes I have for Charlotte. I'm so sorry. That's all I got. That's all I got for Charlotte. Now their quarterback is Grayson Loftus. We'll see what happens with him. I know Charlotte people might have some high hopes on him a little bit, but other than that,
Nah.
2-10. If that's an
It
improvement
is
possibly for
over.
Tim Albin. Um, yeah. So we're just gonna
It is
skip
over.
past Charlotte, and we're gonna move on to number 13.
Number 13, I have the Rice Owls. Um, it's a tough time in Rice. They went 5-8 last year, which isn't horrible, but they lost a lot of players, and that's the problem with the American Conference. A lot of these teams, I mean, a lot of them lost a lot of players. They lost
Yes.
a lot of talent, especially at the top. They got that safety from Sacramento State as their top transfer, and it's some weird name. It's like Koa Akoi or Koa something.
I know who you're talking about.
Um,
Yeah.
but they lost Chase Jenkins, their quarterback, to Kansas.
Yes.
Um, I I think that they'll win like 3 games probably. It's just going to be rough because a lot of these teams are in the same spot, especially at the bottom. And there might be one that surprises some people. Um, I just think it's going to be a rough time for the Rice Owls this year.
It's food. It's food. That's my notes here
It's
for
food.
Rice. I
Good.
have
It's
them.
great when it's fried.
It is great when it's
Amazing
fried.
when it's fried.
You know, it's weird. I don't know why. Recently, I've become more of a white rice kind of guy. Um, I used to be
So
that
that
fried
is
rice,
so
but I'm.
boring, guy.
I know it's boring, but what you do is you got to have all your other
It's
food
good with
mixing up.
sauce. I'll say that. It's good if you got like some sauce. But if
Yes.
you're just eating like plain white rice, that is the water
Oh
of
no.
foods.
Yeah,
Just
no. I'm not
it is,
eating just plain
and
white
not even
rice.
a
Never.
nutritious way either. Because rice bloats you and it's bad. But I love some fried rice with chicken and egg. Oh my god. Some soy sauce in there. Man, I might
Have you
get
ever
some
had some
Chinese for
fried
lunch now.
owl with white rice? Some fried owl with white rice is the pinnacle food down there in Houston, Texas. Um, they do have Ja'Cory Brown at quarterback, who I hear is the expected quarterback one heading into next season. Central Florida transfer. We've seen him play. He's been okay, but you're not wrong with Rice. They lost a lot with their quarterback going to Kansas from last year and Chase Jenkins and Rice. I mean, what else is there to say? It's food. It's food.
It's food.
We had to get those two out the
All
way
right.
quickly here. So let's get into the real
You
nitty
did
gritty.
have the
Because I,
worst.
I'm not gonna lie, I think 13 and 14 are kind of on their own pedestal of bad for the American this year. And who knows? Maybe we somehow come up with a Rice Charlotte American Conference Championship game to end the
I'd be
year.
here for it. I'd be all here for it.
Some would say that could be B&B Bowl worthy, but
Yes.
it could be. But we haven't heard that yet. But the stratosphere, the people in the stratospheres are saying so. Number 12, Spence, who you got?
Number 12, I have the University of Alabama, Birmingham,
I
the
thought you were just going to
Blazers,
leave it
at
at
number
Alabama.
12. Uh,
Be like, wow, they did drop so low. Wow, after
yeah,
Nick Saban,
yeah,
that's
they
crazy.
dropped to the American Conference. That's how bad they are. Alex Mortensen is their coach. It's going to be a tough year one under them because UAB went over a lot of turnover. They have a really good secondary coming in. Their secondary recruiting class was good, but they lost Jay Sean Platt to Illinois, which is going to be tough to replace. They did get a cornerback from Oklahoma State, Drayden Fallbright or whatever his name was.
Mm.
But yeah, no, I fully believe UAB will be back. But
UAB will be
Alex
back.
Mortensen, this is his first year, so
First
give him
first
a
real
couple,
year. Yeah.
and we'll see what happens.
I've got a lot to say about UAB, a little bit, but they're not here at 12 for me. And I will say I think I could be lowballing this team a little bit at number 12. Um because I believe this team is a real under the radar team in this conference who could end up being worse than they were last year just because. I have the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa at number 12. Um, Trey Lamb, I mean, last year they went 4-8. It wasn't pretty, but they're returning a lot. They're returning a decent amount next year. And I don't know. I have a lack of confidence that they're going to be like drastically improved, at least next season. Um, they could be much higher than 12. I'm just not sold on it.
Fair enough. Number 11, I have the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes for the same exact reasons you just put. Yeah, Trey Lamb. They had a decent transfer portal class. Not anything great for the
Yeah.
American. Um, but I do think that they'll probably end up going 4-8 again. Probably 5-7 at most if they are absolutely lucky. 6-6. They lost Brody Foley, their tight end, to Louisville. But they gain. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough because these teams at the bottom, it's like I could see a world where they're better because a lot of these are either new head coaches or they are coaches trying to prove themselves with their teams.
Yeah.
And Tulsa, I just don't think is going to be able to have that, Tulsa or UAB. But I wouldn't be shocked if they get close to a bowl game. I think that they can win 4 or 5 games. So,
Potentially, for sure.
but they play Oklahoma State um, on the road as a season opener,
Tulsa
and you
seems
know
to
how
always
much
play the.
I love East State this year.
It'd be different if it would be hilarious to watch Oklahoma State beat or Tulsa to beat Oklahoma State if it was in Tulsa. Oddly enough, Tulsa's hosted Oklahoma State and Oklahoma in their past. Like it's kind of insane to me thinking that I don't think their stadium even holds 30,000 if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not big at all. It's also a dumb looking stadium, but it's very, very artificial looking, but
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes. At number 11, I agree sort of here with you. I have UAB at number 11. Alex Mortensen, year 1 under him, and this is what I have for my notes for UAB. Hopefully no stabbings happen for Alex Mortensen and maybe start jabbing at the competition this time instead. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Sorry, Trent Dilfer. My apologies. And sorry to whoever that kid was, but I had to throw the jab. Haha. Anyway, we'll quickly move on from that. Let's get into the top 10, okay? Let's get into the top 10 of the American here. Who is number
Uh,
10?
Number 10 is Florida Atlantic. Um, Caden Veltkamp is their quarterback. I think Florida Atlantic under so they're in a spot to where I think, like I said with the rankings, I think they're going to be better than Tulsa, and I think that they have a shot to. I think they're going to make a bowl game. I think that the middle part of the American is going to be better than a lot of people think.
Mm-hmm.
Starting off with 10 and up, I wouldn't be shocked if any of these teams made a bowl game. Zach Kitley's going to have their offense going. I really believe that they are going to catch some fire. They did lose Iverson Hooks to Oregon, their wide receiver, but they got in Tucker Holloway, a wide receiver from Virginia Tech. Problem is they open up at Florida, so that's going to be tough.
Will be
That's a
tough
tough way to
having
start the season.
having to
I
stop
do,
that wide receiving
I do
core.
think FAU will be better. They went 4-8 last year. I think they have a shot to go 6-6. So
See, I'll get into FAU in a second because my number 10 is a team that was really it won our hearts over last year. This program, they created an absolute monster that's going to Stillwater, Oklahoma. And
I know.
I don't think that they're going to be as good, and I think they're going to fall off a little bit. However, they might have the best running back in the conference this year. I have the North Texas Mean Green at 10th overall in the conference preseason. I will say they could be higher than this, But with losing Mestamaker, with losing Wyatt Young, with losing Caleb Hawkins, with losing practically everybody, and they're
They
replacing a
lost
bunch.
16 players.
They did lose
16
16.
players to Okie State.
They lost others as well to other schools. You do have Taven Jackson coming in, former Indiana quarterback who was at Central Florida last year, who was probably going to be your starting quarterback.
Ugh.
Jaheim White's the running back coming in, who has the potential to be the best running back in the conference next year. Um, some would probably argue he is on paper heading into the season here. So there's still some stuff to look forward to with North Texas. I just think 2026 could be a little bit down from what we've seen specifically last year.
Number 9, I have the North Texas Mean Green. Um, it's kind of the same reasons you said. They've lost everybody. They lost their coach. Neil Brown is a fine coach, but we'll see what happens in year one. There's a lot of rebuilding to do in North Texas because of how much they lost. Um, yeah, pretty much what you said. I have the Mean Green at 9. So
Well, number 9 for me is the Florida Atlantic Owls. Look at us. We're just rotating
we
these
keep,
guys in here.
yeah.
Florida Atlantic, right? If the only issue I have is if Caden Veltkamp could just stop throwing picks, they'd probably
Mm-hmm.
be a lot higher on the list. And I think
Gonna make it fly.
FAU realistically could be a top 5 team in conference when it's all said and done. I wanted to rank them much higher because I think Veldkamp is like the Jameis Winston of the American Conference, where when he's good, he is good, but he
Mm-hmm.
just loves throwing
When he's bad, he's
interceptions.
bad.
He loves throwing interceptions, man. That's like his favorite thing to do, more than touchdowns, and that's what scares me. So FAU, it's more of a conservative 9, but they're a liberal 4 in my head. You know what I mean? That's just what I'm thinking right now. But
Fair.
the Owls, we'll have to see. Let's get into the top 8 here.
Number 8, I have the University of Texas at San Antonio. The Roadrunners.
Whoa.
Owen McCown is proven to be a very good quarterback in this conference since transferring from Colorado. They did lose a lot of top pieces, including Davis Martin, to the transfer portal. But I think that their passing game is going to be really good again. They went 7-6 last year. I think they have the opportunity to be around there again, max 8-4. But I think that they'll have another solid year this year.
You and I definitely differ on the Roadrunners heading into this year, for sure. They're definitely a little bit farther down my list. Because I believe Owen McCown's the best quarterback in this conference heading into the season. And I trust Jeff Traylor. And honestly, I don't know how he hasn't gotten a Power 4 job yet as a head coach. He's easily the best head coach, I think, left now in the American. With John Summerall leaving. I mean, who are you going to say? Navy's coach?
I don't know. We'll just have to
Who?
find out in
Charles
the
Huff in year
rankings.
1 at Memphis?
No.
Will Hall replacing John Summerall already because he's at
Yes.
Tulane?
Well,
Maybe East Carolina's coach actually, Blake Harrell. He's pretty good too. Um,
what about Brian Hartline, Mr. Recruiter of wide receivers himself? No, I'm just
Number
playing.
8 is the South Florida Bulls for me. Brian Hartline and Martin Van Buren and Luke Kromenhoek and Alex Golish and Byram Brown are out. And it's more so how will it translate year 1 completely from the Byram Brown, from the Alex Golish era into Brian Hartline. And it's more of a this is a I have them ranked at 8 because I just need to see it. They could easily be towards the top 5, 100%. But I'm pretty high on some other programs heading into this year who I think could really perform really well. It sounds like it's going to be
Mhm.
Martin Van Buren, who's probably going to be quarterback 1. Of course, they did bring in Luke Kromenhoek as well from Mississippi State. Um, and they have other weapons. They brought in Bryson Rogers from Ohio State, and he's hit the transfer portal very well.
CJ Hicks.
CJ Hicks at linebacker as well, former Buckeye, who's probably going to be an edge rusher, I would assume. Should be an edge rusher.
Yeah,
He's
I'll go
better at edge.
probably.
Um, it's just I have to see it translate in year one with Hartline. How is he as a true head coach for his first time in his life? Let's see how it plays out. I can't rank them too high just yet.
Yeah, he'll be marinating down there in South Florida until he comes and coaches the Buckeyes. When Ryan Day either leaves for the NFL or gets fired.
He's gonna be so crispy when he comes back too. He's gonna be so tan, and
Yeah,
by the time he comes back to Columbus, all of that tan is just gonna
yeah.
evaporate
He's
from
not
his
going to get it.
body.
Ryan Day will leave for the NFL at some point. I just have a feeling for some reason, but we'll see. Number 7, I have America's team. Well, there's 3 of them. America's number 1 team, the Army. Um, Army is obviously the most triple option team of all time, along with the other, Navy and Michigan a few years ago.
Yes.
Um, I think that they're going to be fine on offense. Their defense, they have to replace a lot. Their secondary needs to really come together. They went 7-6 last year. Um, they lost Josh Manicky tackle to James Madison.
Mhm.
But Army normally they'll be around the mid tier of the American this year, in my opinion.
At number 7 for me, I have the ECU Pirates, East Carolina. They have
Mm.
lots of turnover, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. They did retain a good amount of defensive talent heading into this season. Um, but I will say, Eastern Carolina has historically overperformed under Coach Blake Harrell in the past. And so they could be a little bit higher than number 7. Um, but I'm not fully
Yeah, they got
sold
Mr.
on them.
Beast.
With Mr. Beast money, they're probably going to be the number 1 team in the conference for the next
They have
decade once
Mr.
it
Beast
finally
funding him.
hits.
Yeah.
Once it finally hits, the pride of Greenville, North Carolina is going to be just you're going to have every player is going to be living in the biggest penthouse in the Outer Banks known to man. So that's what's going to happen there. They're going to be driving Ferraris and Lamborghinis when ECU is
Mhm.
playing Purdue for a national
And the
title.
national championship.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but for
Shout out
now,
the Pirates. All right.
we have them at 7.
Number 6, I have the USF Bulls. Kind of like you talked about, Brian Hartline. Obviously, he's a great recruiter. We got to see what he's like as a head coach. This is going to be his first head coaching job. Um, they have a decent defensive front with bringing in the transfers from Ohio State, but they have a lot of offensive firepower to replace.
Yeah.
Obviously, with losing Byron Brown to Auburn, and Alex Golish just brought a bunch of his stars with him over there. I do believe Brian Hartline will be a decent head coach. I think USF will have a winning record year one, like a 7-5 type year. Um, Obviously, I hope he does good being a Buckeye fan. But I also do think that USF is in a good spot right now. Even when Alex Golish left, the foundation he kind of left there. And I do believe that Brian Hartline has a reputation of being a star recruiter, especially at the wide receiver position. And I don't think he'll have any problems getting wide receivers to come down there to South Florida. So I have USF at 6.
He probably won't even have a problem having them even leave the state anyway with all the talent that they have down there in South Florida. Ironically, South Florida is in
He will get a
Tampa.
5-star. He will get a 5-star to commit to USF. 100%. I
And
fully believe that. He will get a wide receiver, a 5-star wide receiver to commit to USF in his tenure.
well, the thing about USF too, we've already talked about it before on the podcast. Look down the road a while back about the investments that is going on in that football program and just athletic program in general across all sports. You
Mhm.
have the new football stadium being built. I think it's going to be up by I could be wrong, could be 2028. I forget what time frame, but I know within the next 5 years or so anyway, South Florida is going to have a brand new football stadium on campus and not playing in Raymond
Yeah.
James with the Buccaneers, but um, they had massive donations into their athletic programs, and South Florida is investing heavily into their facilities and everything. So it it, it will happen with Heartline. He will succeed there. He will eventually Will it happen in 2026 is the real question, as we've already stated. Number 6 for me, you had them already listed. I have the Black Knights of West Point, the Army Black Knights. They have the 17th best returning snap rate out of any team in the country. You did mention their tackle who hit the portal, but all other 4 offensive linemen are returning starters. You can trust Army's trenches, you know? You right?
Yes.
Trench warfare, exactly. It would make too much sense
Trench
to trust
warfare. They are experienced.
the epitome of winning in the trenches is the Army. Um, but they have their quarterback back in Kale Helms, or I forget how you say his name. Helens, something like that. He's returning.
Lamb.
Helams, Helms,
Helms, who knows?
Helms.
However you say his name.
Now, their defense is the real question. Only
Yep.
34% return rate back on the defensive side of the ball compared to the offensive side. So we'll have to see how that defense fares. But Army, the last couple years, they've been, you could say, better than Navy. Now, I can't remember. Did Army win or Navy win the last game? I think Navy. Navy won.
I think Navy did.
Because they had
Yeah.
Horvath and Heidenreich and everything. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it was Navy. But Army has really bounced back because I remember when we were younger and growing up, Army was never good. It was Navy beating them by like 30 every time, or what felt like 30,
Yep.
which is really 14 to nothing for the Army Navy game. Um, but then all of a sudden, Army in the last like 5 or 6 years, I feel like they've really had a nice bounce back. And they've got a good leadership. They've got good structure there in Army. I really like the direction of the program that they've been in. Um, I think they could finish in the top 5. It's not out the question for sure, but I have them here at 6th. Top
At
5.
number 5,
Top
I have the Temple Owls at number
Okay.
5.
Look at us having the Temple
Um,
Owls. Both of us are going to have Temple in the top 5. They went 5-7 last year, by the way, people. Okay.
Casey Keeler had a really good transfer portal.
Yes.
They had a really good all bringing in. They had the tackle from Louisville, Ransom McDermott. Um, I truly believe Temple's going to make. I think that they're going to go win 8 games this year. I think Temple's going to win 8 games, and I think that Casey Keeler is going to be up there for American Coach of the Year for trying to get. I mean, Temple was 5-7 last year. You think a couple years ago, they were the worst team in the American. They were awful, and now they're starting to try finally make a stride. And I do think that Temple will do that this year. Don't think that they'll win the conference, but I think that they'll make a run for it.
Number 5 for me is not Temple. It is the Tulane Green Wave, all the way down at number 5. And I know they've been the most consistent program in the conference. You do lose John Summerall. You do lose practically everyone from last year's team. Jake Retzloff is gone. A lot of their starters are gone, specifically offensively. What will happen in year 1 under Will Hall? What will happen with Caden Samanza being QB1 this year? Now, I do think their defense is going to be improved and probably one of the better units in the entire conference, and specifically their linebacking core with Chris Rogers, Dixon Ague, and Makai Williams might be the best linebacker trio in the entire G5. I really like those guys a lot. So I expect Tulane's defense to be very good. How good will this offense be? How good will Will Hall be as a head coach? Putting them at 5 could be a little low, but I think for now, I'd rather put them there and we can move them up accordingly later down the road if needed. Number 4, Spence.
The East Carolina Pirates. They did lose Caden Hauser to Illinois, kind of like all the stuff you talked about. But man, Blake Harrell always has them winning 8-9 games. They are always consistent, even with the amount of talent that they lose. They did bring in Ray Joseph from Miami. And I do think that they're going to have another good year this year just because of the fact that I can trust Blake Harrell to be consistent with his program. And I do like the way that they looked last year going 9-4. I think that they win 8-9 games again.
Number 4 for me is the Temple Owls. They are bringing practically everybody back, it feels like, for the most part, anyway. Their starting offensive line is back, and it might be the best unit in the conference heading into 26. And I also agree. I like Casey Keeler a lot. And if you go back to last season, they finished the year 5-7, but they lost against Army and Navy by a combined 2 points. If not, they go 7-5 anyway, and people talk about them maybe a little bit differently right now. Um, I know the consensus around Temple, it's not just you and I. I think a lot of people are higher on Temple heading into the year. I think that people think that they
Mhm.
can be one of those dark horse teams in the American this year, and it really does feel like it. It really does. I think Temple's on the climb back up in front of
Yep.
nobody in Lincoln Financial Field. But at least on my TV screen, we'll be able to consume their winnings. But top 3, we are here. One's very different from the rest, but I know at least 2 of ours are the same.
At number 3, I have the Memphis Tigers.
Okay.
Um, Ryan Silverfield obviously brought a lot with him to Arkansas, and they're bringing in Charles Huff as well, from Southern Miss. But I mean, he brought in a ton of transfers with him to Memphis, and Memphis is one of those jobs where it seems like they are consistently a solid to above average team in the American. I do think Charles Huff is a good head coach. They went 8-5 last year, obviously before Silverfield left. Um, they
Right.
brought in they brought in a good amount from Charles Huff, and they did lose their running back to Arkansas with most like all their guys with Sutton Smith. But I believe that Charles Huff is a good head coach and that he will have Memphis, winning 8-9 games in his first year. Because I do think that they have a lot of resources down there in Memphis, Tennessee. And I do think that they'll be a really good team in the American again.
So much resources that the Grizzlies probably won't even be there again in 5 years. No, I'm just kidding. But you're not wrong though. They do have a lot of resources down there in Memphis. Um, for me at number 3, I'm going with my Roadrunners of University of Texas, San Antonio. Owen McCowan is the best quarterback in the conference heading into the year. Jeff Traylor, in my opinion, is the best head coach in the conference. I don't know how this guy hasn't gotten a Power 4 job yet. He should. In fact, this could be his last year at UTSA. And honestly, I was tempted to even put these guys all the way up at 1, but I just can't. I can't put them at 1 because of what they've lost. Of course, Devin McEwen to Ohio State at wide receiver. He's gone. Who's going to replace him? Can they be better on the defensive side of the ball? They kind of lacked that last year, but they're returning a decent amount, specifically in the secondary. The secondary needs to play better for them next year. But when you have the best quarterback and you have the best coach, I feel like I can trust you a little bit more. So, UTSA, I need a Roadrunner hat, by the way. I need to get that. That needs to be purchased this year or shipped. I'd appreciate it if it was shipped, UTSA. Hope you're listening. Thank you. Reach out. I'll send you the details.
Shout out the Roadrunners.
Shout out the Roadrunners.
Um,
Hopefully the Coyote ain't
number
chasing them.
two, number two, I have the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane, alongside of Memphis, has just been those consistent programs in the American, along with East Carolina, actually, that they seem no matter what happens, no matter the turnover, no matter the new players that they get, the new coach that they got a new head coach in Will Hall. Their roster got gutted in the portal. Um, but they have playmakers that are returning, and it can be a factor. And I do think that they will be in the running to win the American again. I just can trust this program the way it was built and the way it was left, that I can trust this team to make a run in this conference. So they did get Jalen Lucas from Florida State. But yeah, I just trust these programs. They're always at the top. And that's the thing. Like, even with new head coaches, It's gone back multiple coaches that they are consistently in the top of the conference, and I can trust them.
Yeah, that's fair. 100%. And with John Summerall leaving for Florida, he still recruited and had guys signed to Tulane. Like he had a
Yep,
whole recruiting class still for the Green Wave,
the
and it just
foundation was set.
he kind of was like, here, y'all still are here. You got to stay here, and build that foundation with them. He left there gracefully, and Tulane is still in a very good spot. It's just I got to be a little more conservative on them this year, just because I just have to see it on the football field with them. But
That's fair.
um, number two for me, which might not make as much sense because of what I just said about Tulane. But I really like Charles Huff a lot. I got to put the Memphis Tigers at number two, and I really like what he's brought in. 20 of
We have the
22.
same number one.
Yes, we do. 20 of 22 new starters for the Tigers on both sides of the ball. But they have Air Noland, who I know you and I knew pretty well as Buckeye fans anyway. Um,
Yep,
Hit the portal, went to South Carolina and sat behind Lenora Sellers. Now finally gets his real chance to be a starting quarterback. And they also have Dallin Hayden, former Ohio State running back, who will be running back one for them next year too. I trust Charles Huff.
yep.
He's been a winner everywhere he's been. At Marshall,
And he
until they boot,
recruits. He recruits well.
he recruits well, but they booted him out of there, so he went on to Southern Miss. Still did very well in Southern Miss the 1 year he was there, and then he got the job opportunity in Memphis after one season down in Hattiesburg. So I believe in Charles Huff. I believe in Aaron Noland, in the American anyway, and I believe in the Memphis Tigers. I always have. I always have believed in Memphis. I had them in the playoff. What, in our 2024 predictions or 2023 predictions? They were my G5 team. I can't remember. Um, let's see. It was 24. It was the 24 team. So who knows? Maybe they could be that team again this year. Probably not, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
The number one team in the American Conference coming into the season. You know them. You love them. You salute them. The Navy midshipmen are going to be the number one team in the American this year. The triple option lives and they perfect it. This is the perfection of the triple option. You love 1920s football. Go see the Navy midshipmen play.
The pride of
And
Annapolis,
they are
Maryland.
always consistently, they lost their backfield. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. They're all the same. They all run the ball. They all do it good. And it doesn't matter. They always, always, always are going to be good at running the ball because they are a triple option team. And I fully trust the Navy midshipmen to make America proud and win the American Conference.
They're always winners.
And the defense is going to be good. They're returning a good amount of the defense. Their main concern was their offensive backfield, losing them. And it doesn't matter because they're just going to bring in another guy that does the exact same thing.
And it's crazy how they produced
The
two
exact same
NFL
thing.
players this year. Think about it.
Yep.
Heidenreich, and I can't remember the other guy, but there was another kid who got drafted, if I'm not mistaken, from Navy. Um, yeah, I have Navy at number one too. I for the exact same reasons. The one thing though, they're starting quarterback this year, Braxton Woodson. He got a decent amount of time last year, and we saw how good he was when he was on the football
Yep.
field. Still, because with Navy, you're running the ball, you can throw in everybody. So they, of course, Blake Horvath was basically the triple option. He was the
The
U.S.
king.
military Haynes King is what he was. He was basically the Lieutenant Haynes King, if that makes sense. If anyone's
Mm-hmm.
picking up what I'm putting down, but Braxton Woodson touched the field a lot, and he's going to be quarterback one for them. And I like him a lot. I don't think they're going to really skip a beat from Horvath to Woodson. And you can always
Nope.
trust the Naval Academy. Have you ever been to Annapolis, by the way?
I have not. No.
I
I've heard it's a cathedral of college
It
football.
is a cathedral of college football. They have Blue Angels outside. Just get to see those, like the statues, sort of them. You've got, well, before that point, just Annapolis in general looks like a 15th or 1600 colonial to city. That's just what it looks like. Like nothing's changed since then.
And it matches the football that's played there.
It literally does. It does match the football that's played there. Um,
But it wins. They win.
Go
They
Navy,
won 11 games last year.
beat Army.
And we were at a point where Navy was in the running for a college football playoff spot. There was a time for a couple weeks
Yes.
where we were legitimately talking about Navy being in that spot. Could you imagine if Navy made the college football playoffs? I mean, they will soon because they're going to expand to 1,000 teams making the playoffs. But dude,
We've already talked about
the
that way too
Naval
much.
Academy and the triple option going to Eugene, Oregon. Oh my God, that would
Would
have been
feed
amazing.
families. That would feed families. Now you at least know it wouldn't have been a blowout. It would have been like 31 nothing Oregon, or like
Yeah.
35 nothing Oregon. But
The defense would have somewhat showed up.
the thing is with Brian Newberry there after the whole tenor, I forget how you say the last coach's name who was there for years. Oh, I forget. I would have to look him up because I can't remember his name. You know who I'm talking about though.
Yeah.
The old Navy head coach. But with Brian Newberry there, it didn't start off great. It wasn't pretty early on, but he bounced back real quick. And Navy has been on this trajectory ever since. Um, yeah, I have to have. I'm just you and I both agree. We just have to have Navy at number one because it's Navy. You know what I mean? It's the midshipmen. They have to bring
It's
that
the
goat logo
midshipmen.
back. By the way, that goat logo was sick. I don't care.
Oh, it was.
They have to bring that back. That's the real logo. When I think of Navy, that's what I think of. I don't think of no basic N with a little star above it. I think of that delicious goat. That delicious moist goat. That's what I think of with that N across his torso. Yes. Yes. Go
Yeah.
Navy,
Um,
beat Army.
Go Navy. That's right. Beat Army.
And honestly, we got to give a special shout out to the U.S. Coast Guard football team as well. People don't even know they have that. Shout out the U.S. military football players. Shout them out. And I think right
Shout them out
now
all the time.
is a good time as well for you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Because if you haven't yet, by the way, fun little nugget of information 95% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to the YouTube channel.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Analytics. Shout out YouTube Analytics. 95% of you aren't even subscribed. And if you are here at this point right now, you might as well hit the subscribe button. Not the sub. Hit the
Subba,
subscribe
subba,
button.
subba, sub.
And you better hit that push notification bell to stay up to date on all of our new videos as well. And you should follow us on our social media pages at Ball N Beatz Media on TikTok and Instagram and X. We haven't been active on the X though recently. We got to get back on that. But
Yeah.
as well, like I said earlier, you should DM Spencer. You should hate mail him about how his Detroit Tigers are playing bad, how his Detroit Lions will be bad in 2026. That's a lie. That's
Being a
foreshadowing.
Detroit sports fan is just sunshine and rainbows. Let me tell you. I just love that I was born in this area.
We could have, decided against what we
Should have.
decided,
I should have went to Boston. I should have been born in Boston. I would have seen like 20 championships already in my lifetime.
but you wouldn't love it as much, would
I
you?
would have. Oh, I would love. No, yeah, I would. I don't care. It's my city. I don't
It's
care.
fair. It's
I would have
fair.
seen multiple. I would have seen like 5 Super Bowls by now. Well, while I was alive.
You know,
Realistically, probably 3. I would have seen 3 Super Bowls that I've watched. As
that's fair.
I would
That's
have
fair.
seen my team win 2 NBA championships. I would have seen my team win. What's with all the balloons? I would have
We
seen
just
my
had
team win
balloons, people.
three World Series. Yeah. Instead, I will never see any of my teams win a championship other than the Buckeyes. That's it.
He set off the balloons because
It's
he was talking
ridiculous.
about championships. There you go.
Championships. Is that what?
Maybe.
I don't
Nope.
know what
No
that
more
was.
balloons
It
for
just,
you.
yeah, no more balloons. It was just random. But things are going great as a Detroit sports fan. I love everything.
Speaking
I
of
love life.
everything great, spring ball has ended here, and it is time for our updated post spring edition BNB poll rankings, people. Okay? This is what we do for a living. We sit on our behinds, we watch college football, and then we tell kids who are now younger than us if they're good or not. Okay. Last time, I think we both had Oregon number one, right?
Yeah, I don't think we gotta like go 1 through 20. I think we can just kind of um
What if we have
see
so
it.
many
We kind of like
changes?
compare.
We can compare from our
Well, you
last
can't if you
one.
want. I can say mine. Mine for the most part are staying the same because there haven't been, with spring ball. The main change is Texas Tech. And I think that's going to be true, I think, for both of us. I would think.
Yeah.
Um, I have Texas Tech falling all the way to 12, from 6 to 12. So I have them dropping 6 spots, um, because of the whole thing that's going on with Brendan Sorsby. Is he going to play? Is he going to? Who knows what's going to go on? And I know they have Will Hammond, but Brendan Sorsby is a lot better than Will Hammond. And Texas Tech paid all that money for Brendan Sorsby to be their guy. Um, so I can run through my top 20 real quick.
Yeah.
Um, because it's the same. 20 is Oklahoma State, Eric Morris, Drew Mestamaker. They're bringing in a ton of guys from North Texas. I do think that they're going to have a good year in the Big 12, and I can't wait for that week 2 matchup when Oregon goes to Stillwater, and plays at Oklahoma State. Number 19, Virginia Tech. New coach, James Franklin. Brand new system, brand new players. Virginia Tech's getting a rehaul. We're bringing back Enter Sandman. Number 18, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors are going to
Yes.
make the college football playoff this year because I said
I
so.
love the
They're
stamping
going
of
to
it.
make the college football playoff. Putting it on the line. We're getting Hawaii in the playoffs, baby.
Mikey,
Because what is
Micah
better than playing
Elihado.
football? What is better than playing football than playing football in paradise and playing football on the islands? There's nothing better. At number 17, the opposite of Hawaii, Iowa. um, Iowa will always be a top 25, top 20 team as long as Kirk Ferentz is there. They will not make the playoffs, but they will be a good team because that's just what they do. Number 16, Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss is coming back. I believe that helps Ole Miss out a significantly lot more than if he wasn't returning. I do think Ole Miss will have a good year in the SEC. I just think there's a lot better SEC teams. Number 15, the USC Trojans and Jordan Mailata. Lincoln Riley's got to get it right. Lincoln Riley has a big year this year. They need to get this right there in Southern Cal, and they have a lot of big games this year, including Ohio State coming in and playing them. So, number 14, I have the Penn State Nittany Lions and Matt Campbell, their new head coach. The almost Detroit Lions head coach decided to stay in Iowa State, and now he's at Penn State
He's
getting his
coaching the
new
real
opportunity.
Lions, the Nittany ones,
Yeah, the baby Lions.
the baby
Um,
Lions.
Penn State's going to be what I expect from them and James Franklin. Good, not great. Good to great, not elite. Until I see it with Matt Campbell, good to great. Especially year one, I got to give them some grace. Penn State will be good. They'll probably
Well,
win 8
well,
games at least.
their
Um,
schedule, man, it's a favorable schedule, and
is it is,
I can't
and
lie.
then at least 8 games. They should.
I'm gonna say this
So
real quick. I can't lie. You got me bought in a little bit more on the Penn State side because in my last rankings, I didn't have Penn State in my rankings at all. Um, they will be in my rankings when I get to them. Their schedule's very favorable. It's the most favorable schedule, arguably, out of anybody in college football this year. Specifically with how the
yeah.
Big Ten's been recently. Um, don't really have to play anybody crazy big, and if they do, it's pretty much at home. So they got it pretty lucky. Anyway, continue.
Number 13 is Michigan. Um, kind of, I do think Kyle Whittingham's going to do a good job year one there in Michigan. Finally giving Bryce Underwood an actual coach that people that can actually develop. We'll actually be giving him a QB coach, and hopefully this coach won't be texting OnlyFans models at halftime of the Buckeye game. But we'll see. Who knows what goes on in there in Ann Arbor? Those scumbags. Number 12, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. This is my big change.
Mhm.
Everyone knows about it that follows college football. What's going on with Brennan Sorsby? His quote unquote gambling addiction that he has, and he's trying to get it all sorted out. He's trying to get his eligibility reinstated. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. NCAA has been very, very big about gambling recently in years past because of how much they promote it.
Oh yeah.
They have no tolerance for it. And I have an inkling to feel Brennan Sorsby will not be playing for Texas Tech this season. I just think that with what happened in this past, betting on games at Indiana, that's a lot. Like that's an issue. And that's something that I think is going to come back to bite him in the butt. So I do think that Texas Tech falls from 6 to 12. Do still think they can be a good team. Do still think they could win the Big 12 with Will Hammond. I just don't think it's as likely without Brendan Sorsby. Number 11, a team also in the Big 12, the BYU Cougars. BYU is returning a good amount. They're returning their quarterback, Bear Bachmeyer. I believe in BYU. They almost made the playoffs last year, and they brought us an absolutely phenomenal Pop-Tarts Bowl against Georgia Tech.
One of the
Was
greatest things I've ever
absolutely
witnessed.
beautiful. And then they have three. It was there was two Pop-Tarts last year that came out of
I think
the
so, yeah.
toaster.
Yeah.
There's normally one, but I think there was two.
I think there was
But
two, yeah.
yeah, BYU has some big games too. They play Notre Dame in Provo this year. That's Notre Dame's one game of the year that they have to actually try, because they only have one or two of those a year, and they lost
Yes.
both of those last year. And the reason why they didn't make the playoffs, they can bitch and complain all they want. Didn't beat anybody.
Yes.
Number 11, the Oklahoma Sooners. John Mateer was a Heisman contender the first half of the season before the injury happened. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be back. Oklahoma's going to have a good defense because of their head coach and Brent Venables. I think they are going to be fine. I think they're going to make the playoffs again. I do think that I would watch out for the Sooners because the SEC is going to be very, very, very good this year. Very good, as they normally are. But John Mateer, I do think, is going to be that difference maker Oklahoma needs because he was not the same quarterback he was after the injury. And that is another question mark. Maybe he doesn't return to that form that he was before. I'm going to go off the basis of the fact that he is because he's going to be fully healthy. He's going to have a year of training, a year of off-season programs, all that stuff. So, yeah, I do think that they'll be back. At number 10, I'm at number 10, right?
I think so. I think you said 11 twice inadvertently. I could be wrong.
Okay.
He's doing math in his
At
head,
number 10,
folks.
I'm trying to go in reverse.
Number
Yeah,
77.
Texas Tech, BYU, Oklahoma's number 10. Okay, yeah. Number
There we
9
go.
is the Miami Hurricanes. Miami is going to have a very good team with Darian Mensah. I do think the ACC is not good. I don't think the ACC is very good. I think it's going to open up for Miami to finally win the ACC. And I just believe in Mensa. I do think that there's something to be said about this Miami team, kind of that run they made last year to the national title, where they probably coulda, shoulda, woulda won the Natty if some plays went their way.
Yeah.
They did lose Ruben Bain and Akeem Messador, and they're going to have to replace that on the defensive line.
That's why I get
But Mario
Damon Wilson.
Cristobal is a very good recruiter, and I have a ton of confidence in them to restock, to kind of re-go at it again, especially with Mensa. They're paying him a lot of money. Mensa had a really good year at Duke. He signed to return to Duke, and then he just, he flaked, just like a bunch of players in this year and age of college football. But yeah, I firmly believe that Miami will be a top 10 team. The ACC is not that good.
It is great.
At number at number 8, I have the Texas A&M Aggies. Texas Agriculture Mechanical Aggies.
Your love for
Um,
A&M. Your absolute
Mike Elko
crush. You crush on
Mike
A&M. You
Elko
love them
is going
so
to do.
much.
I do love the Aggies. But Mike Elko has done a great job at A&M, and I do believe that he's going to make this program a perennial playoff contender. And they made the playoffs last year. I will say they do have a tougher schedule this year. But man, I just think that something happened last year with that run that they made is going to make a difference. And Mike Elko can recruit well. He's got a nice transfer portal class coming in. A&M has a ton of oil money, all the oil money of Texas A&M, and it's going to help them out in the long run. So gig him. At number, what are we at 7? At number 7, I have the Indiana Hoosiers. The Fighting Furries and Josh Hoover are going to be good next year because Indiana is going to be good for as long as Kurt Cignetti is there.
You're
They
so.
lost. They lost a good amount, but they gained a good amount.
You know what they
That's the
didn't
thing about
lose?
Indiana.
You know what they don't lose?
Huh?
Games. They might lose players, but they
No,
don't lose games.
well, they yeah, not last year they didn't. They have lost 2 games in Kurt Cignetti's 2-year tenure so far, which is absolutely unbelievable to think about. But it's what happens when you have Mark Cuban money. So at, at
He
number
didn't even.
6, I
Okay,
have
hold
the
on.
LSU Tigers.
Okay, all right, fair, fair. Shout out Lane Kiffin and Sam Levitt.
Yep. Shout out Lane Kiffin, Sam Levitt. Shout out the LSU men's basketball team for just getting a bunch of G Leaguers, by the way,
The
to
all
play
G
for their
League team.
basketball team next year. Yeah. Will Wade is back.
He's back and better than ever,
Did NC
honestly.
State super dirty. Um, yeah, LSU is going to be really good. They got a great transfer portal class coming in. Lane Kiffin's going to have that offense flying off the charts. That offense is going to be fun to watch. Sam Levitt's going to rejuvenate his college career, probably get drafted, and the LSU Tigers will most likely be in the college football playoff
Will
next year.
Kiffin
At number,
follow in Will Wade's footsteps and actually try and ask Joe Burrow if he's got more eligibility,
why not?
or
Why
Jamar
not?
Chase or
See
Justin
whatever
Jefferson?
they say. Hey, Jamarcus Russell, you want to come back for another year? You were good in college, just didn't work out in the pros
Yeah.
because that's pretty much what they're telling those G Leaguers. Hey, you're not working out in the pros, come back to college. At number 5, we have the Fighting DUIs of Athens, Georgia, and the
Oh,
Fighting Speeding Tickets of the
oh.
Bulldogs. Because,
It's been so
I
brutal
mean,
the last couple weeks for them too with that.
they get one a week now. It's been a lot more,
Oh.
even with gas prices being as high as they are still going over the speed limit down there in Athens.
They're still getting to 3 RPMs on their 3,000 RPMs on their thing. You can hear the
they
rev
are
right now at
revving up
4.
those engines, but it's death taxes and Kirby Smart. Don't really got to say much. Um, Gunner Gunner Stockton's going to be back. He'll be good. Simple as that. Georgia is Georgia. They recruit well. They transfer portal well. Same all that stuff. Don't really got to say much about the Bulldogs. At number 4, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. It's going to be a interesting year for Ohio State. Obviously, we kind of talked about it a couple of weeks ago on one of the episodes. We had like a 15-minute conversation about Ohio State. There's going to be a lot of concerns with this team just because of the talent that they lost.
Yes.
And I know that can be said about, Georgia, Oregon, Texas Tech, all these teams. Ohio State recruits well under Ryan Day. They got a pretty good recruit or transfer portal class coming in. The problem is going to be their schedule. Their schedule is tough, very tough next year. They have a
Yes.
lot of. They play Oregon at home. They play at USC. They play at Indiana. They play at Texas. They play the Michigan game. And I will go to my grave saying playing at Kinnick is a one of the hardest places to play is Kinnick for no reason at all. Playing at Iowa is tough, and they play at Iowa next year. OSU is going to be good next year, and I do think that they're going to make the playoffs. because of just the amount of firepower on this offense is unbelievable, man.
Oh yeah.
The defense is going to be the one that is going to have the question marks because of how much talent they lost in the draft, and in the transfer portal, with some leaving for USF. But they recruit well. Some guys got to step up. We said these same questions about the team last year, and guys like Arvell Reese stepped up. Guys like Sonny Styles really stepped up. Obviously, we all knew Caleb Downs was going to be good. Kenyatta Jackson's going to be coming back, which does help. But they did lose. They lost a lot. I mean, Davison Igbinosun is gone. They're going to need Matthews to really step up in that corner spot. But we'll see. OSU is going to be good, but I do have some question marks going into next season, but they'll be a top 4 team. Number 3, I have the Fighting Cat Enthusiasts of South Bend in Notre Dame.
What?
Because,
What did you say?
because well, I can say it, the pussies of Notre Dame
Oh,
or
okay,
South
okay,
Bend.
okay.
It's cat enthusiasts. Radio talk. Try to be classy, but if
I
you can't
got you.
understand, yeah, Notre Dame's a bunch of pussies for
Okay.
that whole thing last year. And Marcus Freeman runs a daycare in South Bend, Indiana. I hate Notre Dame.
Tell us
Um,
how you really feel, Spence.
just because they feel so entitled. They think that they're so good because they're not in a conference. Just shut up. You haven't won anything since Lou Holtz. And that was about to say something that was really bad, and I'm not going to.
Hold the tongue.
Um,
Hold the tongue, Spence. Hold the tongue.
um, Notre Dame is going to be very good next year, though, with CJ Carr. They have a lot of talent. Obviously, losing both their running backs, especially Jeremiah Love, but Jadarian Price was very good as well. They have a soft schedule that they will win 11 games and probably lose at BYU, their one game that matters.
Or they would lose a random
But
game against like a MAC school in week 2 or week 3, because that's
yeah,
usually when it
like
happens.
they did with
They'll
NIU.
have a game. They'll have like 1 or 2 games against like a Syracuse or like a Boston College or
Yep.
like a North
We
Carolina
were
where they'll
we were
win
this
by
close.
4.
We were this close of declaring the Northern Illinois Huskies the national champions.
We were.
That's how it'd be, because if OSU would have lost to Notre Dame in the Natty, NIU is the de facto national champion. I don't make the rules.
Maction.
But Notre Dame will be very good. They have I love Marcus Freeman as the head coach. I just don't love his team. But yeah, Notre Dame will be good. Number 2, Oregon. Number 1 and number 2, in my opinion, are on not a massive step up, but they are a step above the competition. Number 2 is Oregon. The amount of talent they're bringing back, Dante Moore is going to be phenomenal this year. Dan Lanning is one of the best coaches in college football. Their defense is going to be phenomenal. Oregon is going to be really good, and I don't really have anything much else to say about that. And the number 1 team in the country, you can kind of flop 1 and 2. I would say 1A and 1B, to be honest, if I could, because I do think both these teams are just on the same level. Number 1's Texas. Texas is bringing back a lot of talent as well. They had a really good
Arch
transfer
Manning
portal
can't
class.
throw slant
Really good
routes. Come on
class.
now. Arch Manning's so mid. No,
Arch
I'm just kidding.
Manning.
I'm kidding.
Yep, and I'm falling for the okey doke again because we said Texas last year, and Arch Manning looked like a toddler the first game against Ohio State. But don't worry, it's at 7:30 now on in week 2. It's at 7:30 for everybody in SEC country because that's what you all wanted because ABC and stuff. And you didn't want to change the game of the game in Columbus. You still lost because your team sucks. But number 1's Texas. They have the most talent in the country. Arch Manning looked really good down the stretch. They had that big win against Texas A&M at home to keep Texas A&M from making the SEC championship. Don't really have much else to say. They just have the most talent in college football. Them and Oregon. I'd say them and Oregon are pretty equal. Like I said, 1A and 1B, and then it's kind of 3, 4, and so on. So, yeah, that's my rankings.
You're so wrong. You're just so wrong, Spence, in every way, shape, or
I know I
form.
should have had Hawaii higher. You're right. I
I
really
can't
should have had the
believe
Rainbow
you.
Warriors higher.
I cannot believe that Hawaii wasn't in your top 10. I can't believe Oklahoma
Fair.
State wasn't in
Fair.
the top 5. And I cannot believe you're
Fair.
falling for the shtick again. No, I'm just kidding. My rankings here. My rankings definitely adjusted a lot more than yours have. Um I do like. I've had some serious jumps for some teams. I've had some teams that weren't in my top 20, now in my top 20. Um, so I'm gonna just get it started
Toledo.
here. Not
The
Toledo.
Rockets are
Not
in the
Toledo.
top 20, baby.
Number 20 is staying the same for me in my previous rankings. I had the Louisville Cardinals 20th, and I really like Jeff Brom. I really like getting Lincoln Keenholz, who's going to be quarterback one for them. They have the best running back in college football, in my opinion, in Isaac Brown. If I had to right now rank my way too early 2027 prospects for that position, I would put Isaac Brown ahead of guys like Ahmad Hardy, like Kawan Lacey. I think Isaac Brown's the best running back in college football. They're at number 20. 19, this team was 15th last time, but I've kind of cooled down on them a little bit, but they still are a team that I'm very high on for next season, a team who I still believe in. Year one under Tosh Lapoy for the Cal Berkeley Golden Bears. They are going to be 19th for me. Duran Kiave Sagapulitele. Say that, Spence.
Had
Say
a
his
really
name.
good freshman year.
Say his name. I want to hear you say
Oh,
it.
I can't. It's like Penn State's guard. I can't say it.
Say it. Say it. No, I'm just kidding. I won't let you say it.
Sarah Pade Ukulele.
Ukulele. Number 18 is a team that you didn't have in the rankings, and we got absolutely flamed for it. Actually, when our rankings released, that this team wasn't in our rankings, either of ours. But I'm putting them in here because I watched their spring game, and if this guy is their quarterback, who I will talk about after I say the team, I think they should still be pretty good. I have to put Alabama at 18th. I do. I have to put Alabama at 18th. Keelan Russell looked exceptional in the spring game. Now I know it's a spring game, it's whatever. Do with that info what you will. And Alabama is under a lot of pressure. Shout out Josh Pate for saying that and answering my question on his show the other night. Um,
That was cool.
Alabama's under a lot of pressure next year, and you and I aren't that high on Alabama. I've got to put Alabama in the rankings now because I like Keelan Russell, and if Austin Mack starts over Keelan Russell, that will probably adjust how I feel about Alabama. I'm just much higher on a lot of the other SEC teams than Alabama right now, and Kalen DeBoer's they've got to perform next year. So number 17.
Yep.
Is the Penn State Nittany Lions now for me as well. You got me on the Penn State train. You did it. You talked me into it. The one issue with Penn
They'll be
State,
good. They'll be good. They won't be elite.
the one issue with Penn State that they had going for them was practically every single human being in existence over spring ball was pretty much injured for them. So that's the only downside for them heading into the season was practically everybody who is worth a damn for them was injured. But their schedule is one of the more favorable schedules in college football this year. You have Rocco Becht, he's been around the block. He's had a lot of experience as a starting quarterback in Ames
Big
with
12
Matt
good,
Campbell.
but is he Big 10 good?
Maybe the Big 10 is worse than the Big 12. What if we find that out this year, huh? What if Penn State's the greatest team we've ever seen? No, I'm just kidding. I'm very
All
kidding.
right.
Number 16 is my beloved Texas Tech Red Raiders. I have to dock them a lot because of Brendan Sorsby, but I still trust this defense to be very good. I like Adam Trick, the Miami of Ohio defensive end. I trust the oil money that they have. I
Yep.
like Will Hammond. I think if Will Hammond is healthy, that's the key word, healthy.
Yeah, he
and
showed
he's
he
their
was pretty
starting
good.
quarterback.
Yeah.
I think they still can be pretty good, but I have to dock them because of just the situation more than anything. And for the fact that I'm just really high on some other teams in front of them, like the 15th overall team in my rankings here. My beloved and newly beloved Houston Cougars. Connor Wegman and Willie Fritz had one of the better head coaching jobs, I think, last year with where this program was at for a while and how he has done since he's been the Houston head coach. I love him. I love him. Amari Thomas, know the name. Know the name Amari Thomas, please. The country. Everyone should know Amari Thomas. He is one of the better wide receivers that no one talks about heading into this year. He is probably a top 15 wide receiver in college football. Look that boy up. Houston should be in serious contention for the Big 12. I fully believe it. I think there's a lot of room for them to potentially win the conference. I'm not going to go out there and say that they will, but don't be shocked if Houston actually is the Big 12 champ when it comes to the end of the year.
Yeah, I
14th,
think they'll be good.
14th. This is more because I think their schedule's tougher this year, and it's not that they don't have the skill, and they're losing wide receivers, although they have a good amount of depth behind it. But they're losing Casey Concepcion, of course, to the Cleveland Browns. It's just a tough schedule for me. So I have Texas A&M at 14th overall. And how good will Marcel Reed be next year? Will he fall off, or will he continue to be even better? Is the real question.
Very good.
So
Good.
13. I'm a little more hesitant on this team than you are. That's the LSU Tigers. I'm not fully sold on everything with them just yet because, I mean, I'm sold on Sam Levitt. I'm sold on some of these players, and I am sold on the coaching staff. I'm just not sold on the drama of it all. I'm not sold on everything else that comes with LSU, on everything else that comes with Lane Kiffin. I think there's enough wiggle room. I don't know if they make the playoff in year one under Kiffin. I'm kind of questioning it right now, to be honest with you. Um,
Mm.
because I really like another school still that maybe he left from. I don't know. But it's just the fact that week 3, we have that week 3 game. And that's going to tell me everything what happens with LSU when they got to go to Oxford.
That's going to be an insane atmosphere.
We thought when he played at
That's going
Tennessee,
to be an unbelievable atmosphere,
we
man.
thought when Ole Miss played Tennessee, it was bad.
Oh
Ooh,
boy, this is going to be rough.
if only the B&B crew could make it to Oxford, Mississippi for week 3,
I'd love to.
that would
I'd
be
love to.
in the
So you
famous
look at those
words.
tickets.
Oh yeah, yeah, facts. But in the famous words of all your gifs, absolute cinema. That is that
Yep.
game. That is the epitome. This is like The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Um, it just is. It just is.
Yep.
Number 12. I have them dropping down, I think, a spot or two here. Is the Oklahoma Sooners with John Mateer, Brett Venables. It's hard because, of course, it's Oklahoma, and I feel like since they've been in the SEC, they have a very, very rough schedule compared to some other SEC teams
Yep.
typically. Um, how good will Mateer be? Like you said earlier, is the question. And I believe in this defense. I really like Isaiah Satania, their one wide receiver who I know is back. I think he's a top 10 wide receiver in college football. I think a lot of people need to talk about him a little bit more as well. But if Mateer bounces back to his early 2025 form, then Oklahoma should be well on their way to making the playoff again. Should be. Question is, will he? Because we've had every year with Venables, they've had a decent season and then they have a 6-7 year. They have a decent season and then another 6-7 year. We just made the playoffs last year. What does that mean? Maybe 6-7 yet again. But time will tell. Number 11. I had them a little bit higher in my last rankings, and I've dropped them down this time just because I've elevated a couple other teams here. I have the Michigan Wolverines at 11. Bryce Underwood finally has a quarterback coach. I haven't heard a lot of good things yet about Bryce Underwood out of Michigan. There's still some questions. So that's what's made me drop them a little bit. But, but,
Tough.
but I believe in Kyle Whittingham. I believe in the pieces he brought in from Utah. Really like John Henry Daly. I think John Henry Daly is probably a top 3, top 4 defensive end in the country this year. I think he'll be a first round pick probably when it comes to draft night in 2027. Potentially. We'll have to see how the season plays out, but I'm circling him right now. Still have Andrew Marsh. You have Savion Hitter and Jordan Marshall in that running back room. You've still got all the talent in the world. It's just time to put it all together here now in year one under Whittingham in Ann Arbor. I think they're a dark horse playoff team. I think they are in the Big Ten. I think one of USC or Michigan makes the playoff. I don't know who, but I think one of those two teams will be in this year.
That's fair.
Time will
Yeah.
tell. Number 10, getting into the top 10 here, I have the Ole Miss Rebels. I have them in the top 10. They were 16th when we last did this, but when we last did our rankings, we were still kind of on our holdout of the Trinidad Chambliss situation. We know he will be the starting quarterback next year for Ole Miss. From a college football perspective, he is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. They have one of the best running backs in Kewan Lacey. They did lose some pieces defensively, like Prince Umanmielen, who is going to LSU, but they did keep Santarine Perkins, their best linebacker, and they kept some other pieces as well on the defense. They got to keep enough that I believe still in Ole Miss. So I have to put them in the top 10. They can't be higher than 10, but I have to put them in the top 10. Number 9 is the USC Trojans. I really like where USC is right now. They had the number 1 recruiting class in the country coming into this season. I think their defense is going to be much better. I think Jaden Mayava is going to take the next step. I know that they lost Mekhi Lemon, but they still have Tanook Hines, who some might say could eventually be a better wide receiver. I like where they're at. I really do. Now, their schedule is tough, much tougher than I think Michigan's is. So we will find out if USC is legit or not.
Yep.
This is the year they have to make the playoff. They have to.
Yep.
And I'm putting them at number 9. Number 8, I really like this team. I really, really like this team. The BYU Cougars, all the way up at number 8. With Bear Bachmeyer back, Kalani Sitake returning. And we kind of mentioned it, I think, on one of the last podcasts. Him getting offered the job to Penn State, it kind of just goes to show what the rest of the world kind of thinks of BYU right now and what they think of Kalani Sitake. This program,
Yeah.
I mean, if you take into consideration last year, their only 2 losses were to Texas Tech. They're pretty much undefeated. And who knows what we're going to see out of Texas Tech now? Will they be better? Probably not now, I would have to assume. But they still could be just as good. I think BYU should be the favorite for the Big 12 right now, and I don't think it should be close, honestly. And I had already debated Texas Tech and BYU already because I wasn't even fully sold on Brendan Sorsby being that much of an improvement from Baron Morton. So if you completely take him out of the consideration, I think BYU should be like the odds-on favorite. I don't think it's close. I really like BYU a lot. I'm probably going to have them in my playoff when we get there to start. When we get to August, when we get to our real playoff prediction time, the Cougs, the Mormons will be in the playoff. Number 7 is the Miami Hurricanes. Darian Mensah is one of my man crushes, I can't lie. This dude is, in my opinion, one of my sleeper Heisman Trophy potential players for next year. People are forgetting he's bringing in his number 1 wideout with him down to Miami and Cooper Barkate, already with Malachi Toney and that running back room with Mark Fletcher. I'm trying to remember the backup name too, but they have all their 3 running backs from last year back. Mensah is the kind of quarterback that will bring the best out of this Miami's offense. If they had Mensah last year against Indiana, I would argue Miami would probably end up winning that game. But they did not. And I think Miami should finally win the ACC. They've never won the ACC, if I'm not mistaken, since they've been in it. So
Nope. Never have.
I think they will
Which
get
is
it
crazy
done.
to think about.
I think they should get it done this year. They should. Keyword. Come on, Cristobal. Number 6, the Georgia Bulldogs. The Georgia Speed Racers. The Georgia Jimmy Johnsons. The Georgia Jeff Gordons, if you will. Gunnar Stockton is back another year, but they're losing wide receiver weapons. They're losing Oscar Delp, Zachariah Branch, but they did keep Nate Frazier Jr., one of the better running backs in the country. You can always trust Georgia on the defense because Ellis Robinson, the fourth, might be the best corner in the country. Some would argue it's probably Leonard Moore. I think he might be more the consensus from Notre Dame. But you still have KJ Bolden at safety as well. You have quality still on that defensive line. It's Georgia. It's Georgia. Just
Georgia.
Just don't go too fast.
That's all you need to say.
Number 5. I have the Texas Longhorns down at 5 because I want to be a little more cautious with them because of the expectation that they have. And like Pate said to my question, I don't think there's a team with more pressure on them than Texas. Because of Arch Manning, because of what it means, because of they've been good, but they haven't really matched expectations. They haven't gotten to that point yet. So it's now time. It's now time for Texas. And you bring in Cam Coleman, you bring in Rasheem Biles, the linebacker, you bring in Hollywood Smothers, the running. You completely revamp your running back room. Now's the time for Texas. Now's the time. Number 4, Ohio State. They have a lot of questions this year because they do not have an easy schedule. It's one of the more brutal schedules out there.
Ever.
Yes, that you'll ever see for an Ohio State schedule anyway. People like to dog Ohio State schedules, but this one's rough. This one's rough.
Yeah.
Can Julian Sayin be a bigger threat himself instead of relying on the talent around him? Is a real question for me. I like Julian Sayin. I do. But we saw in the biggest moments that he wasn't his brightest. And now with a year under his belt, I mean, you expect him to be better. I expect him to be better. I do.
Yeah.
But there's other quarterbacks out there.
Expect the offensive line to be better.
That too. It has to be better. But there's other quarterbacks out there that I would trust right now over Julian Sayin. Other quarterbacks, I like them maybe a little bit more than Julian Sayin. Now, you have the greatest wide receiver to ever live in Jeremiah Smith, and that's not hyperbole, and that's not a lie. It's his last year in Columbus, Ohio.
Ooh, I don't like that.
And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, who's going to be wide receiver too?" Brother, there's like 3 of them. There's 4 of them on the team.
Yep.
So I don't
Chris
really
Henry
question.
Jr. is going to have a big impact.
Brock Boyd is going to have a big impact.
Brock Boyd as well. Yeah.
I think Brandon Inniss will finally produce. I know people kind of question him, but he's obviously a true leader anyway in the locker room. He's one of the best character guys that's ever came through Columbus, from what we've heard. So, we'll have to see with his play if it matches. But Ohio State, they've still got. I mean, it's Ohio State. They still have to be up there. I mean, they're a perennial team. Number 3. The real best team in the Big Ten that I haven't said yet, but I'm lying because my number 1 team is Indiana at number 3. Josh Hoover, Kurt Cignetti, Nick Marsh, Turbo Richard. What a name. That's the greatest name of all time, Turbo Richard. There's better names, but it's a top 4. And Indiana, I mean, you just have to pay homage to the fact that they just won a national championship. Like, it's Indiana we're talking about here.
Still crazy to think about.
And it's Kurt Cignetti. Like, you have to. He's proven it, and you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Kurt Cignetti is that dude, unlike what Spencer wants to tell you. Josh Hoover is that guy, despite what Spencer wants to tell you. He is.
A furry? Am I really trusting a furry to lead my team?
Just because he was at Texas Christian University, and a lot of people didn't watch the fact that he went 9-4. You have to watch the football. You have to watch the tape. Dude is that guy.
No, it's nothing to do with his tape. I just can't. My leader of my team just cannot be a furry. So.
Oh. Here's the bet for the year. Here's the bet, Spence, right now before we get into my top 10.
All right, what?
If Indiana goes back-to-back, the episode after, you yourself have to dress up in a furry costume. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I won't have you do that.
I'm not doing that.
I won't have you do that. I'm kidding. It's
I will personally drive to Bloomington and do something.
You will create the
I
Kurt
will
Signetti
drive.
statue.
Yeah, I will drive to Bloomington and maybe like buy some stuff, or I'll do something at the University of Indiana.
You have to buy a
If
Josh
they go
Hoover
back to
jersey.
back national champions. Yeah.
You-
Okay, fair. Yep, I will buy a Josh Hoover jersey. That's what I'll do.
Number 2, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The weakest schedule of all time, with maybe the best talented roster we've ever seen at Notre Dame. CJ Carr is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Leonard Moore is the best defensive back in the country. They're getting a lot of depth at the wide receiver room. Shout out Ohio State for helping that out. And
That's tough.
Aeneas Williams, who is replacing Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, he might be eventually one of the better running backs in the country as well. Notre Dame seems primed and ready to finally win a national championship. They have the roster to do it. Will they do it?
Yeah.
We'll have to see. And number 1 for me is not changing, and I don't think it will change for me, is the Oregon Ducks. Dante Moore is back. The whole defensive line is back. Their wide receiving core is back. Some would say Jamari Johnson could potentially be better than Kenyon Sadiq at tight end. Oregon also gets Coy Parrish from Minnesota, the safety. They just have to be number 1 for me right now.
Taking them safeties, just taking them white safeties from Big Ten West schools. Tragic.
It's a tragedy.
Yeah, no, Oregon's in.
It's a tragedy for them. But Dan Lanning is the new Ryan Day. He's the new Kirby Smart. He's the coach that has the pressure on him to win the national championship more than anybody.
Yep.
As a coach. Now, Sarkisian, you could say Texas as a program's got the most pressure. I would say Dan Lanning as a coach has the most pressure to win a national championship. Now, there's other coaches with a lot of pressure on them to win, just win in general, or else they're fired with a lot of pressure. Like we could look at Tallahassee. We could look down, and I would still say Norman, Oklahoma, with a lot of pressure because Oklahoma's finally made the playoff, but it's eased off him a little bit with Venables. But Dabo Swinney in Clemson continues.
Yeah.
But no one, I think, has more pressure because of the conversation around Dan Lanning. Oh, he can't win the big game. He can't win the big one. He's won practically every game except playing against the eventual national champs. He loses to them. I think Oregon is good enough eventually. Dan Lanning will win a national title here soon with Oregon. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that when is coming shortly. We will see.
Yeah, it's true. All right, there's our list.
There's our list. And that's going to wrap up this episode here of the Scoop and Score Football Show, brought to you by Ball N Beatz Media, episode 32. We will see you guys next week for episode 33. But before we get out of here, go subscribe right now to the YouTube channel. Like I said, 95% of you who are watching this are not subscribed. So please hit that subscribe button. Hit that push notification bell to stay up to date on all of our new videos, all of our shorts. We just had one come out today at the time of recording. And again, I said DM Spencer a lot, but this time DM him photos of baseballs, I guess. I don't know. I was going to say something, but it kind of, the tumbleweeds start hitting the brain cells. We will see you guys.
Start talking to know where it's going.
We will see you guys next week. Take care and peace out.
Peace.